Below the massive and flourishing world of Las Vegas casinos and malls is a bizarre community of mole people who live in storm tunnels as their own society. In fact, if you've been to Las Vegas, you've likely already driven over this so-called community of mole people. These people are homeless and have chosen to live their lives in these tunnels as a wholly unique society. Of course, as they live in storm tunnels, they risk flooding every time it rains, but it doesn't seem to deter the society. But that's enough information about the mole people. I'm here to tell you that there's something way more terrifying than a city of mostly harmless individuals. My name is Gray, Kyron Gray. Most of you reading this may not know me, but it doesn't matter in any way. I work at a, let's say, company that investigates pretty bizarre stuff. Of all the things I'd expect to find on a mission provided by my employers, it was dinosaurs. I've dealt with mannequins, creepy houses, evil gods of light, but dinosaurs? No. That was a whole new avenue of weird. The case was handed to me a week ago. 3 dead bodies had been found deep in the Las Vegas storm tunnels. Normally, this wouldn't gain the attention of such a secretive company like the one I worked for. But the nature of which the bodies were found really puzzled the guys who found it. The 3 corpses had been ripped to pieces, as if something large had torn them apart. To the public, it was rumoured to be some large alligator or sewer crocodile. But it was no croc. Something way deadlier. I assumed we were dealing with some sort of reptile. We've had our fair share with demonic lizards, and so I, thinking this wouldn't be a difficult mission, accepted it. I took a team of 6 people, myself, my boyfriend Mitchell, and 4 other people I trusted. "Hey," I heard, "you look like you all ain't from here." To be fair, we were dressed in bulletproof vests and had some very fancy guns. "We aren't," I replied. "I can guide you," the Raggedy Man spoke. He was in clear sight. A few agents behind me trained their weapons on him, but I put a hand up, and they calmed down. "Name's Jax. Where'd y'all need to go?" I thought for a moment. "We need to get to where the bodies were found. Can you take us there?" "Did the city send you?" he questioned. "Exterminators?" "Of a sort," Mitchell lied. "Can you take us?" "What have you got to bargain?" "Enough money to get you back on the good side of life," I told, pulling out a fancy-looking piece of jewellery I always kept to lure people in for a bargain. 17th century. It's worth enough. I also neglected to mention it was fake. It was made by an expert forger, so he'd have no trouble selling it off as a real one. "I'll take it," Jack smiled, extending a hand. I put the necklace away. "Lead us first." "Fine." We passed by some small communities, who of course gave us some strange looks. Who were we to them? A group of armed soldiers heading deep into the tunnels? Probably. At last, the sounds of the underground city grew quiet as we entered deeper into the tunnels. Jax led us through twists and turns until the waters grew to our ankles, splashing around, no doubt attracting the attention of whatever was down there. "We're here," Jack said. "Good." I tossed the man the necklace. "Team, spread out," Mitchell ordered. "Everyone split into teams of 2. Distantly, as the team split up to explore the area, I faintly heard splashing in the distance of what seemed to be a bird's chirp. Odd, but at the time I didn't question it. Me, the guide, and Mitchell looked around. Mostly it was water, and a few bits and pieces of junk. Of course, then we found a feather. A large brown feather that surpassed the measure of my hand. "What the hell?" I murmured. "What are we dealing with? A feathered croc?" "Maybe," Mitchell wondered. We looked around in silence for more of the strange brown feathers. Soon my radio sprang to life, buzzing. The voice of Agent Crones broke the silence, just as we found the third feather, which was a deep orange. "Yo, Mitch, Kyron," she spoke. "I've got something really weird you probably want to see. And bring everyone." "Okay." Mitchell radioed for everyone to head to Crones' position. Meanwhile, Jax, for his part, muttered a string of curses at having to work more. I got to Agent Crones. "What's going on?" I asked. "Look," she simply replied, pointing to something brownish in the distance. I adjusted my eyes to the darkness, raising my torch to a lower degree. "Oh my God!" Mitchell marvelled. "Is that—" It was. At the corner, just where the tunnel forked into two paths, was a dinosaur, a chicken-sized, lizard-like thing standing on two legs. Its small arms were fishing for something in the water, and as flies surrounded it, I saw two others, just as it approached, stopping to snap at the insects in the air. But I think the most fascinating part was the feathers. The dinosaurs were covered in this array of magnificent brown feathers mixed in with oddly green stripes. "Ornithoscs," Mitchell murmured, recognizing the animals. He was always a bit of a dinosaur nerd. "Amazing." The rest of the team soon appeared, and they too were equally amazed at Agent Crones' discovery. "Something's not right here," I began. "These small animals couldn't have killed those three men. The photos I saw showed them torn apart by something way larger. We're looking for something else." As if to prove my statement, we all heard this distorted squawk ring out through the tunnels. The three dinosaurs chirped, then began to run off into the distance. Without thinking, I ran after them, following their twists and turns, splashing through water until I stopped in my tracks. We had arrived at a crossroads, and in the centre, I saw the most magnificent force in the universe. There was, I don't know how to describe it, this sphere of colour in the centre, larger than any of us. It was swirling with scarlets and blues and pinks and greens, and the three dinosaurs in front of me chirped, and I saw them jump into the sphere of colour. I then proceeded to notice that the sphere was slowly sucking things in, and that a small ring of water had formed around it. Still, this didn't solve the deaths of those three people we were sent to investigate. "Kyron, we might be getting lost," Mitchell announced, staring at his compass. "My compass is saying north is exactly—" "Mitchell, look!" I snapped him out of his trance, and he too saw the wonder of the sphere of colour. "What the—" The rest of the team soon arrived, and they looked and shared in our amazement at the whatever it was. But still, we all had this burning question forged into our minds. What had killed the three people in the tunnels? Unfortunately for us, we would soon learn soon enough. Just as we were taking photos of the bizarre sphere, the screaming began. Our guide, Jax, who had retraced his steps to leave us once I'd given him his payment, was now in a frenzy, running back at us. "Run!" he shouted. "Run!" We all turned to see him running towards us, turning a corner, and then we saw this jaw lunge towards him, shocking us as the jaw picked Jax up and bit down into him. We saw the man's eyes go wide as the teeth of the creature's jaws pierced his skin, shredding his flesh and causing blood to eerily pour out. "Allosaurus," Mitchell murmured, in shock. The dinosaur was now in full view, a brown, orange-feathered beast, which seemed just as gorgeous as it was terrifying. It dashed Jax against the wall, several limbs falling from the limp, dead body. The Allosaurus let out an ear-piercing chirp as it tossed up the man's body and caught it, then proceeding to snap in three, causing limbs and a head to fall to the ground. I wasn't coherent enough to remember what happened next, but I heard the snap of bones against razor-sharp teeth. The creature charged at us, which, it thought, were invaders infringing upon its territory. As it charged, the 6 of us ran, splitting up into groups of 3 into 2 random directions. Hopefully, that would save a lucky group of 3 from the deathly jaws of the beast. Unfortunately, it decided to go after me, Mitchell, and Agent Crones. We ran through the tunnels with only our flashlights lighting the way, strobing the walls with patches of red and yellow. The monster behind us let out a shrill noise, much like a sparrow. Honestly, I'd expect the thing to roar, but somehow these trills just made it eerier. But it was nothing compared to the melody it began to twitter while it chased after us. I had no idea the simple notes of a bird's melody could cause so much dread within my soul. We managed to hide behind a turn in the corner. The dinosaur passed us, heading off towards a different tunnel. "It should have smelt us," Mitchell complained. "This isn't right." I began, seeing what was underneath us, floating on the water. I think our scent was masked. And then they too saw the gently bobbing head of our guide floating just above our ankles. The guide's dead stench had somehow convinced the Allosaurus that we weren't there. Lucky us. "Team 2, I called, speaking through the radio. "How are you doing?" Static buzzed. I tried another agent's radio. Nothing. It came through on the third one. One named Agent Janice Jones, but 2 words were spoken that sent chills down our spines. "Help me!" And then came a deafening snap of bones, and then there was nothing but static. Distantly, I heard the eerie melody which had haunted the tunnels before. No, this isn't right," Mitchell murmured. "How could the Allosaurus get to their position so fast? It was just next to us a moment ago." We had no time to think, as we heard a sharp trill appear before us, and then we saw the creature emerge from a bend, and this time, a corpse wouldn't save us. We could only run as fast as we could through the storm tunnels under Las Vegas. The creature seemed to almost whoop in joy as it chased after us, trying to drive us out of its territory. Suddenly, I slowed as I saw a figure running at us from the directions we were sprinting in. A woman, cursing. "What the?" I shined my light. "Agent Jones? Run!" But if the dinosaur was chasing my group, what was chasing her? That's when we realised there wasn't just one Allosaurus. Around the corner from which Jones had appeared erupted another Allosaurus, one larger than the one that had been chasing us. Later, Mitchell informed me that this was a female Allosaurus. The 2 dinosaurs began to close in on us, and I made the risky decision to turn back, running towards the smaller dinosaur which had chased us, dodging its jaws, and slipping out beside it. Mitchell and Crones were lucky, and they soon appeared beside me. Agent Jones, I assumed, was not. Just as we turned a corner, we could only hear a scream, and then a deafening snap, as the woman was crushed by twin jaws of the dinosaurs. We ran through the darkness, our hopes slowly being dashed as the dinosaurs began to wail a low melody, snapping their jaws at our bodies until a ray of hope. No. Light. A small opening came from above us, an exit. I yelled for Crones and Mitchell to climb out, pointing at the ladders which led upwards into what I assumed to be some neglected portion of the city above us. Crones understood, reaching the ladder and climbing to freedom. Unfortunately, I saw Mitchell trip, falling into the water. I turned back, helping him up, and just as we began to run, we felt the dinosaur's head briefly bump us, tossing us into a wall. We quickly sat up, but before we could even imagine standing, the twin Allosaurus stood just in front of us. I saw the female's tail swipe against the ladder, snapping it in 2. The razor-sharp jaws of the small dinosaur began to approach me. I closed my eyes, accepting my fate, waiting for the icy-cold jaws of the demon to snap me in 2, to die too. But the jaws of death never came. I looked up to see that the two dinosaurs were occupied with something in the distance. Someone shooting at them. Me and Mitchell watched as darts began to fall on the Allosaurus' bodies. We watched as the creatures trilled in confusion and at last, falling to the ground, unconscious. A moment later, two people emerged into view. "Ashlyn Kaleri," the first one said, a woman with crimson red hair. "You've got me and Kaylin Montague to thank." The other woman simply waved a free hand, the other holding a strange pistol. "Thanks," I murmured, relieved.
"Are you with our company?"
Mitchell asked.
"Company 7.
Ashlyn smirked. "Let's just say I work for someone very intelligent that would like for you two to remain alive. And let's just say you might be dealing with a lot more dinosaurs in the near future." "I see." I got up, helping Mitchell up as I did. "And for now, you have us to thank." The one called Montague spoke, extending a hand. I extended mine, and we shook hands. "You two should go," Ashlyn told. "We'll deal with that pesky time portal out in the tunnels." Confused, we left, climbing up the ladder to meet Agent Crones. And that's about it. One thing for certain, I don't think I'll ever forget the melody those dinosaurs sang as they chased us through the tunnels. So, I'm Kyron Gray, and there are dinosaurs in the Las Vegas storm tunnels.